Welcome to this deep dive from the Before AGI podcast.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're tackling something really critical, maybe a bit behind the scenes, but totally fundamental as we head towards more advanced AI.
Right. We're talking about security, the bedrock of our digital world.
Exactly. Specifically, quantum-resistant cryptography.
Yeah, think of it like the next-gen digital locks. We need to unpack what they are, why there's suddenly this, urgency, and what the experts are actually doing about it.
Just think about it for a second. All that data you use daily. Online banking, private messages, everything.
It's all shielded by cryptography. But there's this new kind of computer on the horizon, the quantum computer.
And it could theoretically just shatter those locks.
That's the potential threat, yeah. Pick them pretty easily, based on the math.
Okay, so we're going to explore that quantum threat. It's a bit mind-bending. Today's secrets potentially becoming open books tomorrow.
And the race to build defenses, cryptographic defenses, that can actually stand up to that. Our mission today is really to break down these, let's face it, complex ideas.
Like understandable.
Right. Highlight the key takeaways, what it means for you, for the real world.
And we're using the latest info, right? Drawing from recent reports, the big standardization efforts.
Absolutely. Trying to give the most up-to-date picture we can.
So, where do we start? The core problem.
Let's start there. So the public key cryptography we all rely on today, you hear names like RSA, ECC.
Yeah, the standard stuff.
That stuff relies on math problems like factoring huge numbers or discrete logarithms, problems that are super hard for current computers.
Right, that's the whole point.
But, and here's the kicker, future quantum computers, if they're powerful enough and running a specific algorithm, Shor's algorithm.
Shor's algorithm, okay.
They could solve those problems and solve them efficiently, like really fast.
So the math that keeps things safe now just crumbles.
Potentially, yes. That's the core threat.
And you said future computers, but this isn't like 50 years away, is it?
Well, that's the debate, but the predictions are getting shorter. Experts talk about cryptographically relevant quantum computers, CRQCs for short.
CRQCs.
They think those could be operational within, say, the next 5 to 10 years. Some estimates are even more aggressive.
I'm aggressive.
Some suggest fundamental public key crypto could be broken maybe as early as 2026, with maybe a 50% chance by 2031.
Wow. Okay, that's really soon. That puts the pressure on.
It really does. And it brings up another worrying aspect. The harvest now, decrypt later threat.
What's that exactly?
It means adversaries, maybe nation states, maybe sophisticated criminal groups could be collecting encrypted data right now.
Data that's currently secure.
Currently secure, yeah. They just hoard it, waiting until they do have a powerful enough quantum computer to break the encryption later.
And then all those old secrets are exposed.
Exactly. Think about data that needs to stay secret for decades. Government intelligence, long-term business plans, personal health records maybe. It's a huge risk.
No wonder governments are starting to move. I saw something about a U.S. executive order.
Yeah, that's right. January 2025, President Biden issued Executive Order 14144. It basically mandates U.S. government departments to start the transition to Post-Quantum Cryptography, or PQC.
They have deadlines.
They do. Some national defense departments need to complete this transition by January 2nd, 2030.
2030, that's really not far away in terms of major IT overhauls.
Not at all. And look, the quantum computers we have today, in 2025, they aren't powerful enough yet to break RSA 2048 or anything like that.
Okay, so there's still time.
There's time, but the migration itself, switching out the cryptographic heart of countless systems, takes a long time. It's complex.
So you have to start way before the actual threat arrives.
Precisely. You can't wait until the fire alarm is ringing. You need to install the sprinklers now.
Okay, so we've established the threat is mainly to this public key stuff, RSA, ECC. What about other types of crypto, like AES?
Good question. So most symmetric cryptography, AES, is the prime example, used for encrypting bulk data and also cryptographic hash functions like SHA-256.
The things that ensure file integrity.
Right. Digital fingerprints, those are generally believed to be relatively safe against quantum attacks. There's another quantum algorithm, Grover's algorithm.
Okay.
It offers a speed up for attacking symmetric keys, but the fix is relatively straightforward. You basically just double the key length. So use AES 256 instead of AES 128.
Ah, so that's manageable.
It's considered manageable, yes. The real emergency, the main focus, is definitely replacing those vulnerable public key algorithms.
Got it. So if we need to replace them, what's the plan? Who's developing the replacements?
The big player here, leading the global effort really, is NIST, the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology.
NIST. Okay, I've heard of them in other tech standards.
Yeah, they've been running this huge multi-year process since back in 2016 to find, test, and standardize these new quantum-resistant algorithms.
A competition almost.
Kind of, yeah. A very rigorous, very public competition. They put out a call for algorithms back in December 2016.
And people submitted ideas.
Lots of them, from researchers all over the world. The deadline was November 2017. Then came years of analysis, cryptanalysis, performance testing.
Trying to break them, basically.
Exactly, trying to break them with both classical computers and theoretical quantum computers. By July 2020, they announced the third-round finalists, the ones that look most promising, and some alternates, too.
Okay, narrowing it down.
Then a really big step in July 2022. They announced the first group of algorithms selected for standardization.
The winners, so to speak.
The first batch, yeah. And very recently, August 2024, the first 3 actual finalized standards were published. FIPS 203, 204, and 205.
FIPS.
Federal Information Processing Standards. That's the official designation. So we have actual standards now for some of these PQC algorithms.
That feels like real progress. What are those first 3?
We'll get into the specifics, but they cover key exchange and digital signatures.
Okay, and what about the ones that didn't make that first cut?
Yeah.
Are they still in the running?
Oh, yeah. The process isn't over. They expect a draft standard for another algorithm called Falcon, probably late 2024.
Okay, yeah.
And just in March 2025, they announced a 5th algorithm, HQC, is going to be standardized as well. The draft for that is expected early 2026, final standard maybe 2027.
So it's an ongoing thing.
Definitely. And it's incredibly rigorous. You've got cryptography experts from everywhere, universities, industry, governments scrutinizing these things, plus lots of public comment periods.
Trying to make sure they're really secure against everything.
Everything they can think of, yeah. Quantum attacks, classical attacks, implementation errors. It's a tough process.
So these new algorithms,
yeah,
they must work differently from RSA and ECC, right? Based on different math?
Totally different math. That's the whole idea. Find mathematical problems that we think are hard even for quantum computers. NIST deliberately chose algorithms from several different mathematical families.
Why different families?
Yep.
Like diversification.
Exactly. It's a risk mitigation strategy. If, down the line, some unforeseen breakthrough happens that weakens one type of math.
You don't lose everything.
Hopefully, yeah. You have backups based on completely different principles.
Smart.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into these families. What are the main approaches?
One of the biggest, most prominent families right now is lattice-based cryptography.
Lattices. Like garden lattices.
Hey, sorta, but imagine them in hundreds or thousands of dimensions. It's based on the difficulty of solving certain problems on these high-dimensional grids. Problems like finding the shortest vector or something called learning with errors.
Learning with errors.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting.
It's pretty complex, but the core idea is that solving these problems seems incredibly hard, even quantumly hard. And from this family, we get some of the first standards.
Like which ones?
Crystal's Kyber. That's now officially called MLChem.
MLChem.
Module Lattice-Based Key Encapsulation Mechanism. It's the primary one NIST chose for key exchange, securely agreeing on keys for encryption. That's FIPS 203.
And what are its pros?
Generally known for pretty good speed and relatively small key sizes compared to some other PQC options.
Okay, smaller keys are good. What else from lattices?
Then there's Crystal's Dilithium, now MLDSA.
DSA for digital signature algorithm.
You got it. Module lattice-based digital signature algorithm. This is for verifying authenticity, making sure a message or piece of software is legit. It's NIST's primary choice for signatures, FIPS 204, known for being pretty efficient.
So Kyber for keys, Dilithium for signatures?
Yeah.
Both lattice-based?
Primarily, yeah. But there's another lattice signature scheme coming, Falcon or FNDSA.
The one with the draft expected soon.
That's the one. Its main advantage seems to be potentially even smaller signatures than dilithium, which can be important in some contexts.
Right, less data to send around.
Exactly. And I should also mention NTRU. It's an older lattice scheme from the 90s, actually. Not standardized by NIST in this first round, but it's well-studied and still relevant.
Okay, so lattices are clearly a big focus. What's another major family?
Hash-based cryptography. This is conceptually maybe a bit simpler. It relies on the security of standard cryptographic hash functions, like SHA-3.
The one-way functions. Easy to compute one way, impossible to reverse.
Precisely. The assumption is that even quantum computers can't efficiently reverse a good hash function.
Okay, that seems robust. What algorithms came from this?
NIST chose SFINCS plus FAC, that's SLHDSA, stateless hash-based digital signature algorithm. This is FIPS 205.
Another signature scheme. Is it a primary one?
It's positioned more as a backup. It's stateless, which is good, meaning it doesn't need to track usage history like some older hash-based signatures. Very strong security assumptions.
What are the downsides?
The main one is signature size. They tend to be significantly larger than dilithium or Falcon signatures.
Trade-offs.
Always trade-offs in crypto. There were also older stateful hash-based signatures, XMSS and LMS, standardized earlier. But NIST doesn't recommend them for general use because managing the state is tricky and you can only generate a limited number of signatures per key.
Okay, so SYNCS Plus is the main hash-based one to watch from NIST now. Lattices, hashes, what else?
Then you have code-based cryptography. This uses the difficulty of decoding certain types of error-correcting codes.
Like the codes used in data transmission or storage?
Kind of related, but specially constructed hard instances. The classic example is classic McGillies. It was a finalist, now in the 4th round for potential standardization.
How does it stack up?
Encryption and decryption can be very fast.
Yeah.
But the big drawback historically has been huge public keys. Kilobytes, sometimes megabytes.
Whoa. That could be a problem for small devices.
Definitely a challenge. But NIST recently picked another code-based scheme, HQC Hamming quasi-cyclic.
The 5th one announced.
Yeah, announced March 2025. It's intended as a backup chem, an alternative to Kyber. Based on different code principles, quasi-cyclic codes, draft standard expected early 2026.
So another option for key exchange. Diversification again.
Exactly.
Okay, what about the other families you mentioned earlier? Multivariate. Isogeny.
Right. Multivariate polynomial cryptography relies on solving systems of polynomial equations. Think high school algebra, but way, way harder. Schemes like Rainbow and UOV were submitted.
Did they make it?
None were selected for standardization in the first round. This family has had a history of proposed schemes getting broken over the years, so there's maybe a bit more caution there.
And the last one. Isogeny-based.
Isogeny-based cryptography. This uses maps between elliptic curves. It was seen as quite promising, different math again. Cyc was a key candidate.
Right.
Super singular isogeny key encapsulation. It was an alternate chem candidate in round 3, but then in 2022, it was pretty spectacularly broken.
Broken. Like completely.
Yeah, a major vulnerability was found, which was a setback, obviously. It showed the importance of ongoing analysis. Other isogeny schemes exist, like CSIDH and Squisine, but the cyc break definitely cooled enthusiasm a bit, at least for now.
Wow. So NIST is really trying to cover the bases with lattices, hashes, and codes, primarily for now.
That seems to be the strategy, yes. Choose the most mature, confidence-inspiring options from different families first.
This sounds great theoretically. We have new algorithms, new standards coming online, but getting these implemented everywhere must be a huge challenge, right?
Oh, absolutely. The integration challenges are significant. It's not just a simple find and replace job.
What kind of challenges?
Well, performance is one. As we touched on, some PQC algorithms have larger keys or signatures.
Like McKee's huge keys or the CCSS plus large signatures.
Right. Or even Kyber and dilithium, while generally efficient, might perform differently than RSA ECC in specific scenarios. They often involve more complex computations.
And that could affect things.
It could impact performance, especially on, say, low-power IoT devices or in applications very sensitive to latency, like real-time communication protocols. MLChem, the Kyber standard, for example, seems to involve a bit more data exchange, more back and forth, than traditional ECC key exchange.
So engineers need to figure out how to handle that.
Exactly. It requires careful testing, optimization, maybe even rethinking some protocols.
What else besides performance?
Just the sheer scale of migration. Think about how deeply embedded RSA and ECC are in everything. Web servers, browsers, VPNs, smart cards, software updates, code signing.
It's everywhere.
Everywhere. So organizations need solid migration strategies. You probably can't just switch everything overnight.
So like a gradual process?
Often, yes. Maybe using hybrid approaches for a while.
Hybrid, meaning?
Combining a classical algorithm like ECC with a new PQC algorithm like Kyber. You do both key exchanges, combine results.
Do I do that?
It gives you backward compatibility with older systems that only speak ECC, and it protects you against the quantum threat hitting Kyber. And if some unknown flaw is found in Kyber later, you still have ECC security. It's belt and suspenders, basically.
Ah, okay. A safety net during the transition.
A common strategy being discussed, yes, but it adds complexity and overhead itself. Another huge thing is crypto agility.
Crypto agility.
Yeah.
Being flexible.
Yeah, designing systems so you can switch out cryptographic algorithms relatively easily. If a new standard emerges, or worse, if a vulnerability is found in a current standard.
You need to be able to patch or upgrade quickly.
Exactly. We learned this lesson the hard way with older algorithms like MD5 or SHA-1. Systems need to be built assuming the crypto might need to change. That requires planning and preparation now.
And then there's just knowing what to do,
Yeah.
following the standards.
Right. Standardization and compliance. NIST is providing the standards, FIPS 203, 204, 205 now, Falcon, and HEQC coming. Developers need to use these correctly.
And for some, it's mandatory, right? Like the U.S. government agencies.
Yes. Executive Order 14144 sets deadlines. That governmental push often drives broader industry adoption as well. Compliance becomes a major driver.
It really feels like a global shift is underway.
It is, and underpinning all of this is the need for ongoing research and cryptanalysis. We need people constantly trying to break these new algorithms.
Like what happened with Psych.
Exactly like Psych. That was a crucial data point. It showed the process works, vulnerabilities can be found before they're widely deployed, but also that we can't assume any algorithm is perfect forever. NIST's fourth round is still evaluating more candidates. Vigilance is key.
Okay, so pulling this all together, if you had to give our listeners the main takeaways from this deep dive on PQC, what would they be?
Okay, first, the quantum threat to today's public key crypto is real. It's not sci-fi anymore. The timeline is shrinking.
Got it. Threat is real.
Second, because of Harvest Now, Decrypt Later, we need to act before the quantum computers arrive, especially for data that needs long-term protection. Proactive adoption is key.
Start now, don't wait.
Third, NIST is leading a solid global effort, and we have the first standards, Kyber, Dilithium, CS, plus USPAN law, with more coming, like Falcon and HTC. There's a path forward.
Standards are emerging.
But fourth, the transition isn't easy. There are performance challenges, integration hurdles, and a real need for crypto agility in systems.
It's going to be complex work.
Very. So the final point is really a call to action. Organizations, developers, even individuals should start assessing their cryptographic dependencies now and begin planning their migration strategies. We need to prepare for this post-quantum future.
That's a fantastic summary. We've covered a lot of ground here, from the quantum threat itself to the nitty-gritty of lattice-based versus hash-based crypto and the huge task of migration.
It's definitely a complex field.
But as you said, increasingly vital, especially as we build more complex AI systems that rely so heavily on secure data and communication. You can't have reliable AI without reliable security underneath.
Absolutely fundamental. The work NIST and the whole crypto community are doing is crucial groundwork for that secure future.
Well, for more deep dives into the technology shaping tomorrow, definitely including AI advancements, make sure you subscribe to the Before AGI podcast.
Keep exploring these critical topics.
And if you are interested in getting more hands-on with AI, maybe some practical tutorials, feel free to check out my YouTube channel, Ian Oching. That's OCHRENG-AI.
Yeah, lots to learn.
This transition to a post-quantum world, it's a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
Staying informed, asking questions, that's the essential first step. What parts of this worry you most, or what still seems unclear? It's definitely worth continuing to explore.